So welcome back to Ginny's. I'm Ginny and today I'm going to be making chocolate eclairs with you. So the biggest issue that people have with this is the choux pastry. So I am going to bring you in really close onto every single thing I do. So first you'll come over to the oven and we will sort out the pastry just there, and then we'll come up and I'll show it to you in the mixer. So I've got all of my ingredients here, which are eggs, butter, flour, water, and I add a little bit of icing sugar as well, just a little bit of sweetness, and we'll get going. Remember, the V just here is where all of my ingredients are, and you just drop that down and then you can screenshot it and save it and do as you like. So I'm going to pull you over and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I've got my ingredients just in front of me, my pan on. I've got my hob on 6 and mine goes up to 9, so I'm on like a medium high. So to begin with, I'm going to put my butter into the pan and just let this begin to melt. I'm going to leave it in there for around about a minute and a half, and let that melt down a little bit before we add the next ingredient. So I will see you in a second. Okay, so I've got some heat going in the pan. Now I don't want to burn that butter at all. So I've just been giving it a swirl round. So I'm 3/4 of the way through there. So now I'm just going to add my water in. And that's going to stop that butter from burning. And then we're just going to wait then until all of this melts and it starts to have a couple of bubbles come up, so it starts to simmer up a little bit. So this is going to take about 2 minutes. So this is very boring. I'll turn you off and we'll come back when I'm a little bit closer. Okay, it's starting to go around the edges here. If I'm quiet, you can hear it, but we want it a little bit more than this. So I'm just gonna, there we go, give that a bit of a stir around there. Whoops, very touch sensitive, my hob. And you can see the bubbles are starting to come up just here now. So we're just gonna let that come to a very gentle rolling simmer before we're gonna just quickly pop it off the heat and add that flour in. Okay, so I'm happy with this. The heat seems quite consistent. There's bubbles coming in every little part just there. So now I'm just gonna move that off the heat. Take the flour, put it in, take the icing sugar and pop that in, and then we're just going to stir this all in. So it looks quite disgusting and it looks like it's going to just not come together, but it is. So off the heat, just keep stirring it. Just use the back of the spatula there to get out any of those lumps. I didn't sieve mine. You could sieve your flour, but I just find doing this is just as good. There we go. Right, and then we're going to pop this back onto that heat. Now it's all combined together. And we just want to partially cook this a little bit. So all of my little lumps of flour have come out there. You can hear now it's starting to, the heat's coming through. It's got that dry sound, kind of sound to it. So we just want it to be, what can I describe this as? It's almost like a jelly where it's all sticking and coming together. So we want to do this for around about a minute to 2 minutes maximum, just to get some of that cooked a little bit. And you can see it's kind of sticking to the bottom of the pan here, which is good. It's completely coming together. It doesn't like to not be together now, so if you move it around, this is why I say like jelly. It's kind of, look, really sticking together nicely, okay, like that. When I lift it, it's got a little bit of structure there and it's not collapsing. So as you can see, I'm just pushing it along the bottom, making it a little bit thinner so that the heat is getting to all of that. Right, I'm happy. I'm going to take this off. It's all kind of sticking to the bottom a little bit, which is great. And there we are. So now just lift that off I'll turn my pan around, my camera around, I should say, and I will see you at the mixer in just a second. Right, so I'm onto my mixer. So let's take this mix, and it will just flop out like that. Right. And then what we want to do is cool this. So I'm just making it thinner. So it's going to probably take between 7 to 10 minutes for this to cool enough. Obviously, if we were to put egg on this now, which is the next stage, it's going to scramble and it's not going to do the right thing. So if you just lift this all the way through like that, that is going to cool a lot quicker because the surface area of it is so much thinner. So we're going to come back in about 5 minutes. When that has cooled, we'll have a look in 5 minutes, see what it's like, and see you in a moment. Right, okay, so if I touch the outside of this now, it's cool. There's no problem with that at all, and that's been about 7 minutes. So I'm just going to bring it all back into the middle, like this. Now I've just preheated my oven to 200 degrees on a fan assisted oven and 220 on a regular oven. So that's on there. Right, egg. So I'm going to crack my egg. I've got 2, but I'm only going to go in with 1 first. So here's my 1 egg. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix up. And we're going to pop that straight in. This then is going to go on a medium speed, and it is going to curdle and look awful. So don't panic. Right. Now, you can see it all just like separates and looks truly awful. But it's what we want. So whilst that's going, I'm going to crack my 2nd egg into the tub, and again give that a little whisk up. Okay, all done. Right, so that's kind of sticking to the sides a little bit there. It's not looking massively appetizing, is it? So let's give it a scrape. It is going to work, don't worry. It's kind of coming together, but it's very thick, see? So now we need more egg. Now this is my 2nd large egg, but I'm not going to add all of it. So if you watch what I'm doing here, I'm going to take this off so you can completely see what I'm doing. Right, so I'm going to add it doesn't have to be massively precise. Well, I'm adding about 3/4. Look, I've got this left. And I'm going to save this back for egg wash. So I've used 1 3/4, and that's why we're whipping them up. So let's put this down and we'll let it go again on a medium speed. Now it should come together absolutely lovely. And there we go, happens quite quickly. It begins to form that batter. So as soon as you feel that it's really looking like a dough, we can stop it. Okay, so now I'm going to show you when you lift this up, it's quite important. Now you don't want it loose, and you want it around about that. Okay, so there we are. If you pipe with that, I'll put my fingers on it and you can see it's not stiff. It's just gluey. That's a good word for it, gluey. Right, so now we're going to scrape this down and get this into a piping bag. So I am just going to tidy this up and come straight back. So I've got a 2A piping tip just there, all right? Right. Okay, then we are just going to put the piping nozzle straight down into the bottom, pop that over a glass. Right, let's give you a move around with this and see what it's like. See? So, when you lift it, look at it trailing. It is falling, but it's not dropping to the again. There we go. So give it a little nudge, and there we are. Look at it come down like that. There we go. That's where you want it. Lovely and glossy. So we're going to put this into the bag. All of it. Now obviously this can be made for profiteroles as well, because it's choux pastry. I'm doing this with the eclairs. Right. And then we need to bring in, let's cover that over, our tin. So I've got my tin just here, and then I have made 5-inch lines on the other side of this, because obviously you don't want it to touch the food. Push this down. I've got 2 here, and I've got 5 across the top here. Now that's just because we'll know where to stop. If you're confident enough, you don't need to do that, but I try and give you a guide so you can try and get them all the same. I've left a good gap between the two because these are going to expand. So, right. Now you know I always count with everything. I think counting's very good. So we're going to bring this through, and can you see? Yeah. So we're going to drop, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Okay, and then over to the side, again the 45-degree angle, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if I look, yeah, that's where my line is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's because I'm coming to the end. Right. So now I'm just going to take the end parts and just drop them over. And you can see with your batter it's not so thick because it does all go in together. Right, just wipe my hands off. And then I'm going to do a quick egg wash because it just makes them lovely and golden. So I have got here that little bit of the egg that we kept back, and I've also got some water. Now if you have a look, I'm going to say to you 1/8 teaspoon of water in there. Okay, just a little bit, just to thin it out and give that a nice stir. And you've probably in here got a teaspoon of the egg and 1/8 teaspoon of water. So then you want this to be really wet, okay? Because otherwise it'll make marks. There we go. And we're just gonna do every one. Okay, if it gets dry, just get some more egg wash on it. You must make sure you don't put this into the oven until that oven is preheated. I always say I recommend internal thermometer, tenner on Amazon. So much better, so you can actually see what temperature your oven is at. Okay. I love the way this one's thinner on the end because I got close to the end. Right. And there we are. So now they are ready to go into the oven. So they are going to go in on the middle shelf, and we're just going to pop those in for 20 minutes, and we're not going to do anything else. Okay, my timer's going off. Now I've looked through, and I am going to give them another 2 minutes. Just they are fairly big, and the danger with these eclairs is that if we open the oven too quickly and take them out, that air that's building in them and making them really super gorgeous is just going to deflate, and there's no real saving them. So I'm going to give them 22 minutes, so they're going to get another 2 to 3. I'll give them 3. We'll give them 23 minutes, and then we'll come back, we'll take them out. And then what we need to do is give them a stab, because there's lots and lots of steam inside of there, and what we need to do is release that steam so that it escapes and they dry out on the inside, and then we're going to pop them back in again for another couple of minutes, just on a lower heat. Okay, I've got 1 minute left. They're about to, the time is about to go off. What I want to do now is just reduce that temperature just slightly. So I'm going to take it down to 180, just whilst they're in there. So just pop that temperature down just a little bit, and then as soon as that goes off, we are going to get them out and we are going to poke it, and then we're going to pop them back in again for about 5 minutes just to dry, like I said, that inside bit out. So we're like on countdown now, waiting for that to go beep, 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 beep. Here we are. Let's pop them out. Ooh, right, look at those. So now we just need to give them a stab. Just let out that steam. They should be really, really crispy. Okay, and then we're going to go straight back in. I'm just going to do both sides just to make sure that it all is coming out. Be very careful because these are hot. Right, now pop those back in. That temperature's reduced. We're going to give these another 5 minutes and then we'll be done. Right, we're beeping. It's time to get them out. Where's my tea towel? Here, right. So, there they are. Now the wash on those has given them such a lovely look. These are really crunchy on the outsides, and with the steam, they should be absolutely lovely in there now. I'm just going to re-go through those holes just before I put them on to the cooling rack, just because if there is any excess steam in there, even if it hasn't all come out, what I don't want is for them to be all sweaty inside. So there we are. So now I can transfer these onto my cooling rack at the back, and then we're going to let those cool down. Then we're going to start our chocolate and our cream. So there we are. Don't they look nice? I'll see you in a minute. Okay, they're all cool, and you can hear that, they should be crunchy on the top. So they're completely done. They sound all hollow inside. So now we need to get on with decorating. So we're going to do our cream, but we're also going to melt our chocolate. Now I am just going to melt chocolate and then dip them in so that they go lovely and hard across the top. So we're going to do this first so that it gives it a chance to cool a little while we make the cream. You know when you put cream into the fridge and then it just deflates and it's just not nice and they don't keep. So I add a little bit of gelatin to the cream and it just holds the stability of it, and it doesn't make it last any longer. It just means that it's not going to drop and you're going to keep that lovely structure. So I have got some of my gelatin here. Now obviously if you wanted to do a vegan or a vegetarian version, I do have this, which is agar agar. And this is vegan friendly, and this is the same thing, slightly different way of making it, a little bit longer. You have to boil it on the stove and stuff. So that is available, and that's the alternative if you don't want to use the regular gelatin. So I'm gonna go put the teaspoon across the top because it needs to bloom. So you put the teaspoon of water across, give it a stir up, and then we're just going to leave that there, and you have to leave that for at least 3 minutes. So this is going to be ideal. Just leave it on the side, and we're going to go and melt our chocolate. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, onto the cream. So I've got 1 top of cream. The recipe will be in here, and I also added 1 tablespoon of icing sugar, and I've also added a teaspoon of vanilla into this. Now I'm just going to give this we don't want to take this too far. It has become a bit thicker, but we don't want to take that any further for the moment. So the vanilla's in there, the icing sugar's in there, the cream. We now need to put the gelatin in. Now obviously if you're eating this straight away, forget the gelatin, but I'm going to do this now. So it is turned to like a gloop. And I'm going to put this into the microwave. It should go to 40 degrees. I'm not going to probe it. It takes around about 10 to 15 seconds. So don't take it too far. If you boil this, it won't work. So take the 10 seconds. It should go completely like liquid, and you should feel the temperature on it when you put your finger into it. Please don't put it in for longer and then put your finger into it. You're going to burn yourself, and please don't do that. So you can always put a spoon in and just touch the side of the spoon. Probably a wiser thing to do. So I'm going to go and do this, and I'll come straight back. Excellent. So this is just completely liquid now and ready to be used. So we're going to put this straight in now, and we're going to whisk. Okay, you'll start seeing trails come. Now cream turns really quickly and you don't want that to happen. So starting to stiffen. And I'm going to stop. Okay, so you should be able to kind of tip it, and it's not really doing anything. So see here? Now if I was to go further with this, it would curdle, and that's not what we're looking for. So this is perfect. Okay, so we've got gelatin in there as well. So that is done. This needs to, excuse me, go into a piping bag. And I have got a, what have I got on the bottom of that? What did I put on? A 1M. So I popped a 1M on the bottom. And in with my cream. And that part's ready. So I'm just going to pop this behind me, tidy up, bring you in closer so that then we can pipe these and cover them in chocolate, and you can see exactly what I'm doing. Look at this. Lovely and hollow on the inside. So I am just going to cut this one. So we're going to go from the edge there and just cut that one straight through. There we go. Looks lovely inside there. So I'm going to do a couple like that. So I'm going to do 3 this way, and then the others we are going to pipe through. I will just tip this upside down, okay? Take this out. Right, and we're gonna just dip it in, backwards and forwards, let it come off, and we'll drop that down there and let that just dry off. There we go. Again. Let it run, because otherwise it's just going to run all the way down the sides. There you go. And again, we're just going to pop that down there. Bring these down, and then we need to come in. So I'm just going to take a knife, make a little hole in the end, enough so that I can fit my nozzle in. It isn't quite yet. So let's just, there we go. So I've got my hole, my nozzle in, and we're just going to push, 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 push. Keep going. Okay, and then I'm going to come in across the other end as well, just in case it's not completely met. And again, in with my nozzle, and we're going to fill the cavity on that one as well. You can feel it coming out, coming through on your fingers. It's expanding. Okay, so that's all filled, and then we're going to do the same with this one. We're just going to roll it around and then lift. There we go. And there's the other one. So that's not got any lines across it. Then lastly, we need to fill the ones that we have put the chocolate on. So just lift it open, and holding this way, we're just gonna fill it all the way through. There we go, allow it just to close down on its own. There we go. So there are our eclairs. So I'm just going to tidy this up and then show you exactly what they look like. Right, and we're done. So we have these eclairs. If I spin them round, you can see. So we've got the closed eclair and we've also got the open. So I hope you really enjoyed this and I hope you really enjoy these, and I will see you very soon. You've mastered choux buns. Now you can do profiterolles. You can do all of it. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.